As if. Hi, ugly. It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. And today we'll be reviewing episode 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 3, which in my opinion was the most chaotically judged episode yet. I think I speak for more than just myself when I say that the outcome of the episode left me scratching my head. Or maybe that's just my lice, who knows? Our queens were split into 2 teams and then challenged to market a Draglexa, a parody of Elektra. And the runway category was Expenny, Henny, which is RuPaul for expensive looking drag. And since y'all have been enjoying my rankings so much, we'll be breaking down those runways all the way from rawest rat to hottest hot. Then we'll dissect that main challenge and take a look at Scarlett's breakdown. We've got a lot to talk about, but first, a quick message from today's video sponsor, Manscapes.com. Have you ever tried trimming your pumpkin patch but ended up in a Freddy Krueger nightmare? Well, scream no more. Manscaped is here to save the day with their Lawnmower 4.0 and new ultra premium body wash. The delicious smelling refined body wash is the perfect addition to my in-shower grooming routine. It's paraben-free, cruelty-free, and I love using it because it's infused with aloe vera and sea salt, which leaves my skin feeling soft, supple, and hydrated, which of course makes it the perfect skin prep for trimming away old cobwebs with my Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof body trimmer. Thanks to Manscaped, grooming is a treat, and they've partnered with me to bring you something sweet. When you click the link in the description of my video and use code BUSSY at manscapes.com, you'll get 20% off your order plus free shipping. And be sure to opt into the Manscaped Peak Hygiene Plan to get monthly or quarterly shipments of Manscaped body wash delivered straight to your door. Remember, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping when you use code BUSSY at manscapes.com. Thanks Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's charge up Daddy's credit card. First up, it's Choriza May, RuPaul's favorite meat. Miss Choriza is sitting at the bottom of my list at Rawest Rot today because this outfit did not strike gold. She's kind of serving me like Ashley Tisdale hits the red carpet back in the 2000s vibes with this. There's just something about a boot and a mid-thigh length skirt that does not flatter many people, myself included. And this look actually really surprised me coming from Choriza considering she has such interesting taste, which usually turns out pretty good on the runway. Worst of all though, I think it just doesn't even meet the runway category of looking expensive. It kind of gives me like Carmen Sandiego Party City costume vibes. Sorry. This look is gonna be a rat. Next up, she evidently gives a great blow dry. It's Krystal Versace. It kind of hurts me to put Krystal this low on my list tonight, and don't get me wrong, I think she looks gorgeous, but she always does. I think we've been so consistently impressed by Krystal throughout the competition so far, and she has set the bar so high for herself that something like this just doesn't really, I think, meet her own standard. I do agree with what the judges were saying. It is slightly club wear, and this would look amazing on a stage. Like to see her lip syncing in this, the way the stage lights would bounce off all those crystals would be stunning. But Expenny Henny? I'm not necessarily buying it. Plus, I was a little thrown off by the shoe not matching the outfit, so this one is also going to be a rat for the runway category. I think she's gorgeous. Next up, Vanity Milan. This is certainly not the first time that Kim Kardashian's Mugler dress from the Met Gala has graced the RuPaul's Drag Race stage, but it may be one of the best interpretations thus far. I think the trouble with recreating such an iconic look like the one that Kim wore to the Met Gala is that it's always gonna be less stunning than the original, no matter what you do. That said, I am confidently ranking this look as looking more expensive than both Krystal's and Choriza's, and the judges are right. Vanity's makeup game is definitely improving, and I think she looks very pretty on the runway tonight. If I were gonna improve this look to make it look just a tad more expensive, I probably would add more crystals, and maybe turn it from a cat suit to a gown. What she's serving though, I'm gonna go ahead and give a warming up. Next up, Miranda Priestley on the runway, groundbreaking. I caught the reference as soon as she stepped out to the stage, and I bought it. No, she's not dripping in jewels or crystals or anything like that, but I think she looks the most chic of the looks that we've seen so far. I really enjoyed this different take on looking expensive, and she is kind of giving us like that older Meryl Streep vibe from The Devil Wears Prada, which I love, but maybe it's just because I love the movie so much. The judges told her that she could have done more with this look, and Michelle was like, you should have brought your cane all the way down the runway. And like, sure, but like also the silhouette of this is absolutely amazing and Scarlett looks gorgeous. Scarlett, this look is red hot. Next up, make sure to look back at it. It's Vaday. She says she is wearing her Gwen Verdon inspired wig, which is referring to a Broadway show called Sweet Charity, which is very appropriate for Ella, I suppose. This dress, I do have this high on the list because I do think it looks more expensive than anything we've seen so far, but I still had a couple of issues with it here and there. Michelle says that this wig ages her a bit, and I do want to say there is something about Ella's style that feels slightly older than she she actually is. And I don't think that that's a bad thing at all, because it can definitely be played into, and I think drag of all ages should be represented, whether the queen behind the age is actually that age or not. For example, Vanilla Creme kind of plays this older motherly character, and I live for that. But the problem with Ella is that she's giving this like very specific style that I think her personality isn't quite yet matching. All that to say, I actually really did enjoy this look, especially when we saw the reveal when she turned around and bam, an entire chandelier cascading down her back. Who would have thought? Ella, this look is hot. Next up, Penny for your thoughts, it's Kitty Scott-Claus. Kitty is another queen who, interestingly, is looking more beautiful and beautiful every single week on the runway. There is just something about this adorable updo and that cat suit and the way all those little copper things are just dangling from different parts of her body that makes her look really, really beautiful. And I think with Kitty, we really are starting to see the intersection of personal style and Expenny Henny in the actual look come together, which is why she's in this spot on my list. Kitty, this look is hot. Next up, you want thingamabobs? She's got plenty. It's Charity Kase. On the runway, girl, this outfit is completely insane in all the best ways. She says she is giving us evil tooth fairy coming to steal all of your mother's jewels. And this is one of those looks that gets better and better the more you look at it. The details on it, all those things and jewels and gold pieces glued to every single inch of the bodice and the crazy wings and the hat. I've never seen anything like this grace the RuPaul's Drag Race runway. And not only is everything that she's wearing gorgeous, but she has also brought a fun character to the runway. I love seeing her little weird, creepy fantasy world come to life on the Drag Race stage, and definitely gonna miss her. Spoiler alert. Of course, tonight, Michelle took the opportunity to tell Charity that what she was doing was amazing, but what if she had come out here in full glam? What if? Which, from a viewer's perspective, I felt like that was a little bit of a slap in the face to Charity because she has come out in full glam. Y'all remember that orange dreamsicle look she wore? And the judges told Charity that the look was wearing her. I mean, the amount of versatility showed by Charity throughout the competition so far has been, in my opinion, quite high, so that critique felt very misplaced tonight. I think tonight it became very apparent that the judges didn't really see Charity as the representative that they want of RuPaul's Drag Race, for whatever reason. But my dear Charity, this look is absolutely hot. And finally, my hottest hot tonight goes to River Medway. She really is sneaking through this competition. Like, girl, she's quiet as a mouse. Oh, wait, that's Scarlett's line. But I really do feel like River is going to sneak and surprise her way into the top 4. Like, before anybody knows it, they're gonna look around, she's gonna be standing right there, and maybe she'll even take the crown. If she keeps turning looks like this and performing the way that she did in the challenge, I definitely see that as a possibility. Anyway, on to the actual look. She says she is representing her heritage, an East Southeast Asian culture, and is wearing the colors red and gold because they represent wealth. And if any look on the runway tonight does look Expenny Henny, it's this one. And I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hot over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen, and they too voted for River Medway. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that crazy challenge. It kind of felt to me like whatever the queens were supposed to do was not properly communicated to them. Or maybe they didn't have enough time to actually execute their ideas. Let's take a look at what happened. Team Scarlett's approach to the Draglexa commercial was to physically manifest Draglexa as each of them throughout the different scenes, which, yes, to the judges' credit, it felt like a total fever dream to watch this because I'm trying to figure out like who's who and why they're switching so many times in the different scenes. And overall, I will say it felt like maybe each queen wrote their own script and then they tried to put them all together and then it came up with this. My opinion on how the queens performed in Team Scarlett was that Ella and Kitty were the best of the group, and both Choriza and Scarlett had strange, almost confusing energy. Like, I think maybe they had a certain character in their mind they were trying to deliver that didn't translate through the TV. I would say the commercial as a whole gets a rod, but I would still give Kitty and Ella hots because I feel like they did the best they could. And then my favorite part of this group was the awkward laughter from Kitty at the end because, like, I guess she thought they did pretty good, and then Ru and Michelle just like throw everyone the dirtiest, nastiest looks. I do also want to bring up a really strange critique that we heard from Michelle that I'm honestly kind of surprised that the editors left in. She points out that Choriza has a really thick accent and that she could have used her accent and ability to speak Spanish in a comedic way. And I will say queens in past seasons like Yara Sofia and Alexis Mateo have used their Spanish speaking abilities and accents to their advantage in certain challenges. However, it always seemed like they did it at their own will, whereas I feel like asking somebody that speaks Spanish or has a thick accent to try to make their thick accent the butt of a joke, I don't know. It just came off a little strange for me. Team Krystal's commercial as a whole felt way more coherent. I knew what was going on, and I even laughed. I thought Vanity was the funniest, and I think River definitely deserved more credit than the judges gave her for what she did as the voice of Draglexa. Interestingly, we hear from Michelle that she thought Vanity is still too quiet, which she was literally yelling in the commercial, screaming. And I was like, what? Like, it almost sounded like Michelle was like reading from a list of storyline characteristics that were supposed to be about Vanity rather than actually watching and critiquing the commercial. And then Alan Carr critiques Krystal for using, I guess, like a cliche or too cheap of a joke about blow drying her hair. I was literally just sitting there like, what is going on? Like, they were not that bad. I feel like they're just looking for random things and not even making sense. And then everything started clicking when Rupaul told the queens there was a twist. There was going to be no winner and everyone was considered up for elimination. It was clear to me at this point that the whole thing kind of felt like manufactured drama. The main critiques that Ru gives the girls is that she's really disappointed and she's seen it all before. Just really kind of vague general things. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, of course you probably have seen it all before. We're about to go into our 14th US season. We've done 6 seasons of All-Stars, and this is the 3rd UK season and the 2nd in the same year. Again, all very bizarre, and I think this episode is a great example of how the producers could spin a narrative in the direction that they want the rest of the season to go, simply by throwing a wrench in the plans of finding a winner like this. And Rupaul does take some of the blame, saying that she should have spent more time going over the team's storyboards, and less time looking for Choriza's sausage? Perhaps. And then the final twist of this episode is that Ru asks everyone who they think should go home. There are 5 votes for Scarlett, 2 for Charity, and 1 for Vanity Milan, which naturally leads us to Scarlett's breakdown. I think her reaction here was very normal. I mean, I probably would have felt the same way if 5 of the queens who I thought were my friends threw me under the bus like that too. And the whole situation really starts to heat up when Ella and River tell Scarlett that she needs to listen instead of talking over people. Scarlett then leaves untucked, cools down, and comes back, at which point the rest of the queens do try to console her a little bit, but it's clear here that Scarlett has fully let that inner saboteur take over, even saying she felt like the people that she loved and respected didn't love and respect her back. And I'm breaking all this down because it was so heated in that untucked room and Scarlett got so angry. And as a reminder, this is a super high pressure environment. So like, think about how you would react in a situation like this, where you are pretty much every single day working your ass off, sometimes spending what, 10, 12 hours in drag. And finally, back on the main stage, we learn that Charity and Scarlett are our bottoms of the week, which, if you remember, just happened. Deja vu, anyone? This, to me, as the rest of the judging did tonight, felt a little strange. Sure, it does appear that they just picked the queens with the most votes, but I think having 2 is hardly a majority or reason to put you in the bottom, especially considering that the team captain of Charity's team, Krystal, allowed Charity to take over the team captain responsibility instead of actually performing the lead role. And in a challenge like this, where both teams are being told that they did not give what was supposed to be gave, it just makes a whole lot more sense to me to choose the team captains as the bottoms. This, of course, was all made even stranger by the fact that the only critique Charity received in her performance in the challenge was that she was beautiful. Like, there was just no reason to put her in the bottom. We do get an encore lip sync from Scarlett and Charity, and you can catch my reaction to that over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my patron family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my videos, access to exclusive videos, access to the Bussy Queen Discord server, and more. Click the link in the description of my video to join today. But yeah, this was definitely a tough one, and this one I think was actually more deserving of the double Shantae than the one from last week. My overall opinion though is that Scarlett won. Charity gave a really creepy, strange performance of this. It actually made a lot of sense, but Scarlett's was even better. She was literally fighting for her life. It is really difficult, I think, to see somebody emote their face properly when they have most of it covered by some sort of prosthetic, which is kind of how I felt last week about her lip sync as well. Anyways, Charity sashays away and we are left with an interesting group. Definitely not the top 7 I probably would have picked from the jump, but lots of talent in there. However, I feel like we're still waiting on storylines to develop. Like, it almost feels like we are stalled in this season. Like, where are we going to go? When are we going to get a good group challenge? We've had Dragaton and now this one kind of flop. And I'm not necessarily blaming the queens, but maybe the rushed production schedule for allowing things like this to fall flat. But anyway, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts thoughts on this, so please sound off in the comments below and let me know. Who was your hottest hot this week? How would you rank the looks? Who would you put in the bottom 2? And what do you think about all this rigomoris? And as always, I want to say thanks to you for watching the video, today's video sponsor, and my generous patrons who make my channel possible. And I want to give a special shout out to Ryan Munoz, who's just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Lark, Angel, Adaluda, Cyrus, Felicia, Cody P, Jared Rocks, JP Joseph, Josh Marchant, JP in Dallas, Laura, Matthew, Maxila, wow, Miss F, Neely, OG Debuse, Rochambeau, Scooby Snacks, Sailor, Stephen, Tom Jaco, Tom Young, Topher, Triton, and Neely, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. See y'all later, love ya, bye.